recap. So, we're going to take a look at a 2015 comedy adventure film called Invisible Sister. Hey there everybody, spoilers ahead. We start our wonderful story with Cleo, the shy one of the two sisters. She lives in the shadow of her older sister Molly, who's all bright and confident and has a lot of friends. Cleo has apparently fallen asleep during class. Having not heard that bell, she stays behind as out of pitch for a semester project, because he's unimpressed with her choice for the project, which is turning a papaya until everyone else leaves. Her teacher taps those headphones and wakes her up.
Perkins!
He hands her the test results, and she sees she has full marks. Before she can leave, the teacher asks her a battery. He tells her he's got everybody turning vegetables into batteries. So she says in her defense that papaya is a fruit. Now we got a sassy one here. The teacher tells her that her proposal's rejected. She complains a bit, but teacher replies that he wants to see her challenge herself, telling her to do something relevant, maybe something to do with transformation. You mean like turning into a homemade spectrometer? Now, according to Google, it's a scientific instrument used to separate and measure spectral blah 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 blah.
What?
The teacher continues that to achieve this, she's gonna have to... and explains that she'll never know what she can accomplish unless visible. He gives her a new experiment, giving her a substance. I don't know what that is.
One is dense.
Science stuff. He asks her to transform it into a crystal state. She asks how, and the teacher replies by building a homemade spectrometer.
Am I pregnant or am I okay?
Right now, she engages the world a little bit. And as an added incentive, the teacher says that the project is worth...
Half your class grade.
Wow, can he do that? I don't think he can do that.
Crystal.
She's obviously shocked at this, that her teacher wants her to turn mystery gunk into a crystal.
Just hard.
Yeah, no, you summed that up about right. She says it's impossible, but George disagrees, saying that it is hard, but not impossible. She then comments on his pants. Trousers for you Brits, and the two of them head outside. Another kid makes fun of Cleo for wearing black, I guess, telling her Halloween isn't until tomorrow. That jerk walks off, and another guy, Carter, who apparently seems to have a crush on Cleo, asks her if they can study together. She brushes him off in a kind of mean way, calling the situation cliche. You know, sporty guy and the nerd girl studying together. Damn, Cleo, could have just said no, girl. Well, he asks why she blew him off, and she replies that he just wanted to be lazy and get her to do all the work, I guess.
Cleo!
Her then better in every single way sister arrives. Molly offers to take her out with her friends, but being the introvert that she is, Cleo gives a hard pass to that offer. They try to peer pressure her into it, but it fails. Cleo goes home, riding on the back of the slowest scooter in the world, driven by George. Her parents take a painfully long time to notice her, which they eventually do. Eventually, before gushing over Molly, saying their goodbyes.
Let's stick up.
Then they leave on their trip. And as they're walking back, Molly says that she's gonna have some friends over that night. Cleo's like, nah, she has to study. Molly says it's just a few girls and their boyfriends, and anybody else who wants to come. Yeah. And that night, as we expected, that party is loud and crowded and annoying. Cleo tries her best to continue with her project. It's a little success.
Go get some food!
George leaves to get some food and chat with some girls while Cleo stays behind. All alone now, Cleo continues to do that science stuff. And while trying to shoo away a moth, she accidentally knocks over some of her science stuff. I guess we can add clumsy to the list of personality traits. Molly would never have done that. That moth begins to disappear, after two of the chemicals are mixed and a strange steam formed where the moth was flying. Cleo chases that invisible moth through the party, somehow, and the moth escapes outside, flying into the night, which is the first part of this film I find unbelievable. Come on, moths are attracted to light. Surely, it would stay indoors where all the lights are.
Right, guys.
Anyways, Cleo looks sad and defeated, returning indoors. Now later on, Molly says her goodbye to the last of her million friends as they leave that party, while Cleo and her one and only friend sit on the porch and chat. She asks him if he believes her about making that moth invisible. He says she must have been tired and just needs some sleep before leaving her. Molly goes to get a drink, walk into the bathroom. But seriously, how's that house not trashed after the party? Hey, the moth comes back, and somehow falls into the water. Clumsy idiot. And then Molly drinks it. Ugh. Now the next morning, Molly wakes up, now completely invisible. She goes to the bathroom to brush her teeth, seeing her non-reflection in the mirror. Oh, I'd be shocked too if I thought I was a vampire. Well, she screams, and Cleo rushes to her, but, you know, can't see her. They both start screaming, and Molly runs away, saying she's gonna call for help. Cleo mentions the experiment, saying she was working on a sugar solution and a spilled bunch of chemicals caused them to mix and make a moth invisible by accident. Details as to specifically how? Magic. Cleo then asks Molly if she swallowed an invisible moth.
Or I accidentally drank it.
Molly then realizes that she probably swallowed that moth while in the bathroom. Gross. Now a bear walks into the house, but it's actually Molly's boyfriend. He's asking if Molly can come out, but Cleo's like, she's sick, so he leaves. And then back upstairs, they begin to argue about what they can do. Cleo tells Molly that the invisibility should wear off in a few hours,
I think.
and that she should stay home today. But Molly can't miss school because she has plans. Molly goes for the blue dress and bow to make herself slightly visible, but
Can't let them down.
a few seconds later, those disappear as well. Oh, that dress was for Halloween. She planned to dress up as Dorothy from Wizard of Oz.
I have an idea.
Now Molly gets an idea and suggests Cleo dresses up as her and goes to school in her place. And even though their faces look totally different, Molly fixes this issue by giving Cleo a mask to wear. So while invisible, Molly's driving the car because Cleo doesn't have a license.
This is crazy.
They get to school and Molly begins to coach Cleo on how to walk and act like her, wave into her friends. And when she meets Molly's friend Nikki, Cleo, pretending to be Molly, says she was feeling a bit sick. That's why she's paler than usual, and why her voice sounds different. Now Molly's boyfriend arrives, but Cleo manages to escape him by saying she's contagious. Cleo then gets a call from George. They talk briefly and he agrees to cover for her in class. Cleo tells Molly that they have to get to the lab, but Molly tells her that she can't miss her first class, geometry.
C-?
Cleo then sees Molly's grade, which is a C-, and after tells her that, she could have asked for help if she was having trouble. Molly replies sarcastically by saying that Cleo is always warm and supportive. She ignores that, saying she has to get to the study hall so she can get a big compound microscope and figure this whole thing out. Science stuff. Molly says that she'll get it instead, because Cleo has to go to the pep circle for the lacrosse team, saying it's a bonding and trust-building ritual. Molly shoves Cleo inside, and Cleo awkwardly tries to play the part, being forced into a group hug before beginning the circle of trust. So Cleo, pretending to be Molly, is handed the Bunny of Truth.
The Bunny of Truth.
She wants to be reminded of the rules of Truth Bunny, and Nikki tells her the rules are: whoever holds the bunny gets to safely say something true and meaningful to clear the air before the gang. Cleo suggests Nikki should start off, and Nikki enthusiastically agrees, going on to say that she's grateful for being on a team with them, and that if she's strong, it's because she's surrounded by such strong women. And she's especially grateful for Molly, saying that Molly's always there for her no matter how crazy her life gets, and it gives her friendship and the support that she needs. Also that Molly's an amazing friend and captain. And the real Molly, watching silently a short distance away, smiles. Then Nikki complains about weather apps, and then it's Molly's turn. Cleo gives a short response saying that she's glad she's sitting down because the dress is a chafing hazard, and then aggressively passes the toy to the next person.
Emotional truth.
It's handed back to her. She hasn't talked about her emotional truth yet. Cleo says that, she's doing fine and great, and aggressively again passes that toy to the person sitting on the other side of her. Nikki goes on to say that this is Molly's safe place, and she can trust her friends, and, they love her.
My truth.
So yet again, that toy's handed back to Cleo, and Nikki moves over. Nikki comes closer to her, taking her hands, pulling her in gently, so that she's standing in the center of the circle of trust. Cleo, now resigned, tells her emotional truth. She says that she's not the girl everyone thinks she is, and not the beautiful shining star that everyone is suspecting, going on to say that she's actually more of the kind of person that no one notices, wrapping the story up saying it's all in her head. They all jump in and give her a second group hug, and Cleo looks around to see Molly opening the door and leaving. Now in the lab, Molly's trying to discreetly move the microscope across that table while George and Carter talk about science stuff. And while Molly's listening in, Carter's asking George what's Cleo's deal, indicating that she's brushing him off every time he tries to talk to her. So Molly moves a bit closer. She then runs from the classroom holding that microscope. The floating microscope, somehow missed by all the students and security, is being placed in Molly's locker. Molly rushes back to that pep circle and drags Cleo out to the hall. She asks Molly if she got the microscope, and Molly instead tells her that a cute guy, Carter, was asking about her in class. Typical Cleo shrugs that off, saying, it's just Carter. Molly's like he's super cute and totally into you, and then replies that he's actually not really into her, because she's not that kind of girl. Yeah, I get it. The bear runs through the hallway. Molly's boyfriend, seriously the dorkiest guy ever, goes into the bathroom and she creepily follows him, takes that bear costume, and sneaks out. Pretending to be Cleo, she goes to the science class now wearing the bear costume and talks to Carter. George says Cleo hates costumes. Molly replies that she's working on a thing where she's trying to be less judgmental and uptight.